Welcome to the program. I'm Okpeyemi Owosheni. We start off with business news. Chairman of the Presidential Committee on Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms, Taiwo Oyedele, says the biggest pressure on the foreign exchange market is illicit demand. Oyedele made this observation at the Platform Economic Outlook for 2025 event. Segments of the foreign currency market had been harmonized in June 2023, leading to a free fall in the value of the naira. On the economic outlook for the naira, Oyedele said that he expects stability and growth. And the Minister of Works, Dave Umahi, has revealed that Nigeria requires approximately 18 trillion naira to address its road infrastructure challenges. Speaking with journalists after defending the ministry's 2025 budget before the Senate Committee on Works, Umahi highlighted that the annual allocations in the National Assembly's appropriation bills are insufficient to meet the nation's infrastructure demand. He noted that the federal government allocated 827 billion naira to the Ministry of Works in the 2025 budget, a figure far below the estimated cost of ongoing and proposed projects across the country. We'll take a break now and be back with company news. Welcome back. A former group managing director of First Bank, BC Onosanya, has dismissed claims of his involvement in a commercial loan transaction carried out 12 years ago at the Blender. Onosanya refuted the allegation in a statement signed by his communication advisor, Michael Oshuneyi, on January 20th, where he described the claims as baseless and an attempt to tarnish the reputation of the retired banker and chartered accountant. On Thursday, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission filed charges against Onosanya and 3 others at the Federal High Court in Lagos for allegedly obtaining a 30 billion naira loan under false pretenses. And Fidelity Bank PLC has announced the appointment of 3 new members to its board of directors following approval from the Central Bank of Nigeria. The appointments, effective January 14, 2025, were disclosed in a regulatory filing on the corporate disclosure portal of NGS Regulation Limited recently. The new appointees include Abdullahi Mohammed as an independent non-executive director, Obiaku Okam as a non-executive director, and Sophia Nogaba as an executive director. Commenting on the appointment, the chairman of Fidelity Bank, Mustafa Chikeobi, said the board welcomed the distinguished individuals and look forward to leveraging their extensive experiences to drive the bank's strategic objectives and further its growth trajectory. We'll take a break now, but when Money Matters returns, we'll be discussing Brazilian government announcing the formal admission of Nigeria as a partner country in the multinational bloc known as BRICS. I'll bring you details after this break. Welcome back. The Brazilian government has announced the formal admission of Nigeria as a partner country in the multinational bloc known as BRICS. This was contained in a statement by the Brazil Foreign Ministry on January 18, 2025. According to Brazil, BRICS and Nigeria share common interests as both actively strive to enhance cooperation among global South countries and advocate for the reform of international organizations. Brazil currently holds the BRICS presidency for 2025, having taken over from Russia on January 1st, 2025. Now, joining BRICS as a partner country is a significant milestone for Nigeria, positioning the country alongside some of the world's leading emerging economies. However, this move raises important questions about the economic opportunities, financial strategies, and potential risks that come with this partnership. Now, to help us unpack these issues and explore what this means for Nigeria's financial future, I'm joined by financial analyst Kalu Haja. Mr. Haja, thank you for joining me on the program. Now, let's begin with an overview. Nigeria's partnership with BRICS is expected to bring significant economic opportunities. Can you explain what this partnership entails and why it is significant for Nigeria?
Yeah, well, BRICS is going to be is the preeminent emerging market forum across the world. You know, if you look at the individual countries, Nigeria has a swap deal with China. China is Nigeria's largest importer, or should we say it's our largest market where we import from. Brazil also is a key player in Nigeria's economy as well. Um, Ethiopia, Iran, all those countries, South Africa in BRICS are all our trading partners. So we have a vested interest to be in BRICS individually and as a collective. Also, when we join BRICS, we do get access to, say, the cross border transactions without using the dollar. So we can settle transactions with Brazil, with India, with Ethiopia without using the dollar. So big advantage there for us if we join the BRICS in terms of being an emerging market, so we say forum globally. So that's the good part of it. The only part, I know we're going to get to that, is should we join now and what the risks are now because of the new US president, but I'm sure we're going to get to that.
All right, so one of the major highlights of BRICS is its focus on fostering South-South cooperation and creating an alternative financial system. Now, with this in mind, how do you think Nigeria can leverage this partnership to attract investment and drive economic growth?
Yeah, very specifically, look at it this way. Without China, Nigerians would not have been able to build railways in Nigeria or even ports or even the telecoms. China has stepped up to do infrastructure financing in Nigeria, but they've stopped. Not gotten money for the AKK pipeline from China. We haven't gotten money to complete the railways from China. Even though they have started off strongly, they seem to have slowed down on their investment. With Nigeria being in BRICS, China has its vested interest to support the infrastructure needs in Nigeria because they want to show off and say, listen, if you join BRICS, this is what you get. So we have them on not just on the bilateral level, but also on the BRICS level because they want to essentially support countries within that sphere. They do a lot with Angola, they do a lot with Ethiopia. So Nigeria just being in BRICS will bring Nigeria really closer to China. We've heard about the $2 billion deal that Nigeria signed with Brazil. This is also in part in line with that, getting in close or doing business in that little partnership we call BRICS. So overall, this is a good deal. If you join, it's a small club. If you join, you do get those benefits of trading with the partners in that block without using or settling in the dollar. And that's a key advantage that you can't overlook.
All right, BRICS is exploring an alternative payment system to reduce reliance on the United States dollar. Now, if Nigeria aligns with this initiative, what could be the implications for our trade relationship and currency stability, which is something we are struggling with at the moment?
Mm. Well, if we start to trade, look, that's an overview. When you trade internationally, the way it's done now is that you have to settle in dollars. So if we are trading with, say, India uses rupees, we use naira. We both need dollars to settle. India will settle in dollars, we settle in dollars. So if we don't have dollars, we're at a disadvantage. We can't trade. With BRICS, it is possible to then settle with the BRICS Central Bank with yuan. It's still foreign currency, but we don't have to have the dollar in particular. We can do a swap with China and settle India, or we can do a direct swap with India in that framework. So it allows us to, so we say, maximize or stretch out the reserves we have in our bank to say we're not going to run down our dollar reserves. We can still do letters of credit not issued in dollars. So that's a big advantage if you are in the BRICS. The problem with this arrangement is that the US does not like it because, of course, you are abandoning the US dollar to trade and settle in a different currency. Hence, you see the new president-elect saying if you do this, he's going to place a tariff of 100% on goods that come from your country. Yeah, so that's going to be the risk that you're going to run into when you then take advantage of the savings that we get from joining BRICS.
Now, all in a bid for development, Nigeria has expressed interest in joining the BRICS new development bank. But then, how do you think this we could access funding from this institution? And also, how do you think it will also impact Nigeria's infrastructure and development projects?
Yeah, if we join early and also be a capital partner, just like how you are a partner in the bank, you do get those benefits of being a first mover. If you are in there, you get access to capital and access to credit. So it's not just bilateral, it's going to be multilateral, it's going to be via the BRICS Bank as well. So it favors the country like Nigeria that is looking for foreign direct investments, also foreign portfolio investments to join as many institutions that it can get access to capital, not just the BRICS, any institution that can give it long-term development finance, we want to be there. So BRICS is welcome because when you are there, you are a member of the club. I think Saudi Arabia is there as well. Nigeria is there as well. So it does allow you to then get access really to most of those long-term financing. The problem, again, like I just said in the past, is that when you do this, you run up against the US. So you got to wait and say, is it better to go after Chinese money or is it better to go after US money? We have Euro bonds. We don't have yuan bonds, if you understand what I mean. We are borrowing in dollars, but we're not borrowing in yuan yet. We just have that swap deal. So we've got to weigh both of them. I would prefer we do both if we can keep both of them at arm's length and do non-aligned, but than to go with one. That's just my preference. We have got to be a bit careful that we don't run against the US in a bid to please China or run against China in a bid to please the US. Yeah.
Now, so while aligning with BRICS may present economic opportunities for Nigeria, but then I believe that it also comes with potential geopolitical risk. How do you think Nigeria can navigate its relationship with Western nations while strengthening ties with BRICS countries?
Oh. I think we have to just explain to the US that, for instance, let's just be direct. The US has the problem with Nigeria joining BRICS, but the US is not giving Nigeria long-term development finance. So we've got to go back to the US and say, if you don't want us to join BRICS, you give us the capital. You give us the capital and then we don't join BRICS per se. But it's strange to say, don't join an organization that would give Nigeria long-term capital to build railways, to build schools, to build roads, and then say, don't join, we'll tariff you, but you don't give us the loans itself. I think the Americans have sort of merged their development finance institutions to have one massive development finance institution. But I don't think we've gotten any loan of note that is massive, the way the Chinese guys also fund Nigerian infrastructure. So the answer to your question has got to be, we've got to go explain to both of them. The Chinese, when I mean Chinese, I mean the BRICS guy, because China is the main financer of BRICS. We've got to explain to both the Chinese and the Americans, listen, we just want development assistance. We're not for West, we're not for East, we're for Nigerians. We want development assistance, we want long-term loans. Whoever can give it to us, we will take. It doesn't mean we've gone East, it doesn't mean we've gone West. It simply means we are getting financing to grow this economy, and we're going to keep on trading with both of you. So we're not in competition, we're not picking sides, we're not aligned in terms of finance and investment. We are simply looking for a better life for Nigerians. That should be our approach, to communicate and to hope that we don't get seen as being a part of a particular bloc or the other.
Okay, so we've spoken about the advantages as well as the risk. Now, I want us to look at it from a more personal perspective. How does this partnership translate into tangible benefits for Nigerian businesses and individuals? And then are there specific sectors that stand to gain the most from this partnership?
Yeah, of course. I mean, look at this. Currently, we have about a $200 million swap deal with China, but that thing is already gone. Once we issue it out, it's already gone. With the BRICS format, if we join BRICS, we can get more, which means the importers that bring in goods from China would get more financing to import goods into the country. that we're importing those goods, we can then add value to them or use locally. So that helps us to even drive down inflation in Nigeria. Same way with exports. If we're also exporting crude oil, China would rather buy from a BRICS nation than a non-BRICS nation. So we also have that advantage that we can do imports and exports of our produce to various BRICS nations. Egypt is in BRICS, Ethiopia is in BRICS. So we are also competing with those nations in Africa as a destination for foreign direct investment. So just being out of it doesn't really favor us too much. We've got to play full court press, BRICS, and also be in the Western court. So for individual investors, importers, being in BRICS helps us. Individual exporters, being in BRICS also helps us. Same with our sovereign. Nigeria is exporting crude oil. India is the largest market. So being in BRICS also allows us to also capture that market and retain it as a BRICS partner and also as a non-aligned partner. So it favors us at many levels, at the individual level, at the sovereign level, even at the multilateral level. So I think it's a very, very good thing for us that we're doing that, yeah.
So away from that, what do you think Nigeria's long-term vision should be as a BRIC partner country? How can we maximize this partnership for sustainable economic growth?
It pains to say that we've got to copy what Ethiopia has done. Ethiopia has really leveraged the Chinese investments to create jobs in Ethiopia. If you look at Ethiopia, lots of foreign capital has come in. They've created export zones in Ethiopia, employing thousands of Ethiopians to then manufacture goods and export. Same with their infrastructure. They built airports with the long-term cheap Chinese funds. So they build the airport with Chinese funds, but they buy the planes for America. So Ethiopia seems to have gotten it right in terms of how they deal with the West and the East. We should also try to pursue that. We want to become the preeminent market in Africa. Right now, Kenya is looked at a destination for the Silk Road that China is building. So Kenya is part of their hubs. We are sort of out of the way because we are deep in West Africa, but we're a large market and the Chinese want to retain Nigeria as a major player. So I want Nigeria to be the largest trading partner with China from the African continent and also be the largest trading partner with the West from the African continent. I think the BRICS allows us that opportunity to expand trade and to catch up with what Ethiopia and Egypt have done in terms of their partnership, not just with China, but also with Russia and Brazil as well. We've got to, again, play that full court press. We shouldn't have any enemies when it comes to trade. We should trade with everybody as long as those funds are coming in here and creating local jobs for Nigerians.
All right, so like you've mentioned, this partnership provides various opportunities for Nigerians, I meant to say. But now, how do you think Nigeria can effectively tap into the investment pipeline from BRICS countries? And what mechanism do you think the government needs to put in place to ensure transparency and efficiency?
Yeah, I mean, China has a model. China's model is pretty simple. You identify an infrastructure project, you go into partnership with them, you basically allow them to bring in their infrastructure, sometimes their people. They bring in their funds, but they give the funds to their own folks to do it. So we have to look at projects and say, which ones do we want the Chinese to do? Which ones do we think we can do locally? Which ones do we think we can go to the West to do? That's really what we have to do. Study how the Chinese, the Russians, the Brazilians invest and then write our laws to attract that investment. Look out the Brazilian state. They want to invest in meat processing in Nigeria. They've asked us for guarantees of the market size and also for market efficiency. In essence, they are saying, go and build the road, go and build the power. When you have built it, then we would invest. That's how they want to invest. The Chinese will not say that. The Chinese will basically invest and bring in their own power as well. So the way to tap into those countries is to understand their methodology for investing. Then write your laws. So if you want to attract Chinese to invest in a railway, write the specific contract to say you want to you can allow labor to come in or allow machinery to come in because you are targeting Chinese investors to come in. Americans won't do it. Chinese guys were going to do it. So write those laws to target who you want to come in. If it's going to be exploitation of capital, like what the South Africans want, then again, write your laws to target those sort of investments. You can't have a one size fits all. You know, that's the point I'm making. Americans will come in and build an oil refinery. They're going to ask a lot of environmental, a lot of social governance issues. The Chinese will not ask for that. So that's what you want to do. Write your investment laws, write your contract to attract foreign investment, country specific. If you think China is going to give you a better deal, write those contracts to appeal to China or to Russia to come in and do it. If you think you're going to go towards the West, again, write that to appeal to them to come in and do it as well.
Now, for sectors like manufacturing, agriculture, and most importantly, technology, how can Nigeria leverage its BRIC partnership to diversify its income in these sectors?
Mm. Well, I mean, we have a model from China already where you build the coastal cities, you make them free trade zones, you make them epitomes and model cities for exports. So in those cities, you're going to have power, you're going to have security, you're going to have low taxes. Then you then attract the foreign folks to come into those coastal cities, manufacture and export. You don't tax them, so they come in. But you then learn from them when they are in the country, which is what China has done. So we want to leverage what China has done. We want to copy them because China right now, their wage costs are going up. So that model is no longer going to apply in China anymore. So the Chinese companies have got to look for a country where they can come to also do manufacturing because they like to also export to United States. AGOA, African Growth and Opportunities Act, allow African countries to export things to the United States with no tariffs. So can Nigeria not go to China and say, listen, we're going to create maybe in Calabar or in Ondo a large Chinese manufacturing base where the Chinese folks can come in there, create a manufacturing base and export things to the US and take advantage of AGOA, the same way they did in Mexico, right? So that way we are taking advantage of the Chinese investment because they are getting higher labor costs in China, and we have an advantage here of having lower labor costs. But the Chinese can come in here, create those manufacturing clusters, and then start to export stuff to Europe and America because we have AGOA and we also have a cheaper base of doing business. That's one way we can leverage on that Chinese example to do manufacturing, also IT, and of course, then use what we have and what they have to then become a major player. Our target is to catch what Ethiopia is doing. Ethiopia has done a lot with China, and China has invested a lot in Angola. So we want to catch those two African countries first, take over, and then start to then do export using Chinese funds and expertise.
Now, just before I let you go, sir, now, given the current global economic landscape and Nigeria's economic landscape as well, with inflation at 34.80%, how do you see Nigeria's role within BRICS evolving in the coming years? Could this partnership pave the way for full membership in the future?
Yeah, I think if Nigeria wants to be a full member, she can. The BRICS wants Nigeria more because Nigeria is the largest nation in Africa. So they can say that they have the largest nation in terms of population in BRICS. Also, the West also wants Nigeria out of BRICS because they can then say largest African nation is not in BRICS. So both nations want Nigeria. I don't think the inflation rate is going to deter both the BRICS and also the Western guys from coming out from Nigeria. We're in a unique position. We're a large country. We're very educated. We have we have an economy that is ripe for foreign investment. So we must sell the positives and hope to attract investments into Nigeria that support us. So we are the bride, right? We don't need to go chase anyone, but we want to also chase investment. So we have to draw that fine line across the board. The point again is this: they need us for geopolitical issues because they are in competition with the West. The West needs us, China needs us. It's our job to take advantage of this and then attract investments. If we want to build a railway, do the contract to both China and the US and see who bites, right? Because they both want us. That's the way I would do it. If you are in demand, take advantage of it. Don't sell ourselves short. Ethiopia, Egypt, South Africa, the pride really is Nigeria. If Nigeria joins you, that means that 1 out of 4 Africans are now in BRICS. And that's a big, big, big prize for any organization to have, as it were.
Kalu Aja, many thanks for lending your thoughts on the program.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
All right. Well, that's it on this episode of the program. Many thanks for joining us. I'm Okbayemi Owoshi. See you next time.